Welcome back, folks. You're with us here on Sports Federation TV, where we talk about sport in the Western Cape. And, of course, we focus on our various sport codes in South Africa, of course, structured according to the SASCOC structures. And for those of you that don't know, there are 78 sport codes, official sport codes in South Africa, and they're, of course, structured across the various provinces. And the Western Cape Provincial Sport Confederation has, of course, got these codes affiliated to them and, of course, across the various districts. Some of the sport codes end up going to the Olympics. Other sport codes go to World Championships. And, of course, everybody comes on Sports Federation TV. Jenny O'Hanlon joins, or at least stays with us in studio as we carry on talking about Modern Pentathlon. But now joining us, Stephen Hodge, the president of Western Cape Modern Pentathlon. Stephen, nice to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
You're in the hot seat. Jenny said during the break, you're in the hot seat now. This means you're the new president of Western Cape Modern Pentathlon. Must be an exciting road ahead for you.
It's very exciting times. I think the sport is heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
We've got phenomenal athletes from from under 15 up, or should I say actually from under 9 up.
Under 9 up.
But, yeah, from under 9 up, can you believe it? These
Yeah.
young little kids doing 5 disciplines, actually 4, but with the inclusion of obstacle racing.
Yeah.
No, it's very, very exciting times.
And tell us a little bit about your experience in Modern Pentathlon and how you managed to get involved, yeah?
So basically I have 2 younger children, one 9 and one 12 years old.
Yeah.
My son went to SA Champs, came second for Western Cape. Was invited to under 17 World Champs. We didn't go because being 12 years old competing under 17, I think in the next level, he's still fairly new to the sport.
Yeah.
So he's a runner, he's a swimmer, and pentathlon just, the distances, well, the whole sport as a whole, suits him,
Multi-code, yeah. So we were just talking about that, for parents finding that balance. It's hard enough doing one sport, but now you're talking about having to do 5 different codes. How do you encourage the parents? I mean, do you guys spend time with the parents and maybe give them advice on how to find the balance and so on?
It's a very fine line.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, at the age the kids need to decide what their passion is and I think it's the parents to be there for them, ask the question. And yes, we're a good community. We open any questions.
Yeah.
How did it go with your child? How's the development going? So I think it's very exciting.
Yeah.
The parents, without the parents being into sport, then I don't think the children really have the opportunity.
Yeah. Jenny, you were mentioning, of course, in our previous segment about coaching, South African Modern Pentathlon. You obviously have to work with the various sport codes, athletics coaches, swimming coaches. How do you encourage how do you convince a swimming coach or athletics coach or a running coach that is traditionally focused on one? How do you convince them or explain to them what Modern Pentathlon is all about and get them into the picture? I mean, or do they already know?
So most of the coaches are already working with our athletes in the multi-sport environment. So they are triathlon coaches, they could be biathlon or triathlon coaches, as Tatiana mentioned, some of the feeder codes that we go into. So what we have done, as I mentioned earlier, is that we encourage them to come and do the coaches course. They don't have to become coaches in all disciplines, but they do need to understand. So we are working towards having head coaches in every province at least, and then a high performance coach that will run the national program, so that we can monitor the athletes better.
Stephen, let's just go to that topic of different coaches, different codes. If you have Modern Pentathlon pentathletes, I suppose that's, not sure if I got it right there, but Modern Pentathlon athletes training at a school where an athlete maybe has their own swimming coach or their own athletics coach, how do you know, do they end up spending time then having to, or do you have to spend time explaining to a coach, look, once you come, you won't get your board?
I think the coaching has evolved so much.
Yeah.
So generally a swimming coach knows about all training and it's a fine balance. But I do think nowadays the coaches understand, and they obviously do research, and they see, because I think it's more than just the coaches, the emotional state of the child, making sure he's not overtraining, And I think that's one of the biggest problems. Is an athletics coach wants their coach to perform in athletics.
Yeah.
A swimming coach wants their child to do the best, swim the best they can.
Yeah.
That I think the new coaches and that they see that integrate because they're experienced with it. So I think they do understand, but it is a very, very fine line, a fine balance. But no.
And tell me a little bit about your typical sort of, and we know that you're in the hot seat and that this is the first, but what do you expect from the season ahead in terms of the calendar? How often will the athletes be competing? What will be the typical events calendar looking like?
So actually, the first half of next year is very busy.
Yeah.
I would say until the end of August. So it's a lot of worlds, SA champs, and a lot of world events. So there's a lot of exposure for the children and different levels that they go to. And people is now coming to the December period. And funny enough, somebody asked me, said, "So does your son have a break now?" And we say, unfortunately, they can have a break, and they do taper off a bit.
Yeah.
But for the athlete, a modern pentathlete, there's no real break.
There's no real rest.
No rest.
So Jenny, do you guys then, with going on what Stephen just said, you've got provincial championships, you've got national championships, you've got world championships. Are we seeing modern pentathlon with an element of high performance? We see so many sports today that has realized that the training schedules are very intense, and that if you want to be the best in the world, you have to be competing, or at least training literally 7 days a week. You have to have your rest and sleep, recovery, etc. Has modern pentathlon moved into the high performance space?
Yes, it has. And I think that is, we have to really work to a world calendar. And South Africa's summer season isn't necessarily in line with world calendar, particularly when you have countries or continents like Europe that dominate pentathlon. But we have to find, that's also where we find the balance. Not many swimming coaches are going to understand or want to entertain the multi-sport athlete.
Yeah.
And unfortunately in swimming, you'll find that the December period, they just keep training. And they do their bulk of their training because they're preparing for a championship as well. But this is where we have to find the balance with our athlete. We have to be able to give them a break. So we generally have training camps early in December for them to introduce new athletes to the sport, help the existing athletes with some new technique, etc. And then we expect them to have a bit of a break.
Yeah.
But then they pick it up quite quickly. You can't have much more than a 2-week sort of break. And then it's full into the provincial season, and it also depends on the Olympic year. So when you have the Olympic Games, all the World Championships for pentathlon particularly in senior level is early, which means the SA Champs has to be early. So everything gets condensed into the first few months of the year. And then all the multi-codes spread out right through until October next year.
We look forward to seeing the progress. It does sound like you guys have got your hands full, not only from an eventing point of view, but from an athlete's planning perspective. So Jen, I must say thanks to you for joining us, and we look forward to get you back in studio.
You're welcome.
And Stephen, fantastic. We're super proud of Western Cape, the accolades, looking at what Tatiana, for example, has done, winning junior sportswomen, junior school sportswomen, going to the World Championships. And we're looking forward to what Western Cape Modern Pentathlon is up to next.
Definitely, it's an exciting year, and you'll see a lot more top athletes coming out of the Western Cape. I think Tatiana had a phenomenal year, competing way above her age group, and yes, I think it's a lot of exciting times ahead.
Great stuff.
Thank you.
There we go, folks. Modern Pentathlon, Western Cape, certainly flying the flag and shining. Of course, we're looking forward to see how Tatiana does at the National Sports Awards. We are pretty sure her name is going to be in the hat there, but we'll, of course, keep you informed. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking about sport in the province. Don't go away.